So that being said, when we look at the real life needs in streamlining access control design, you're going to see in this presentation some unique challenges, benefits to the Altronix solution. Obviously, most of you know who Altronix is, I'm sure, out there. Global leader in power and data transmission. We've been around for over 35 years. Our customer support is amongst the best in the industry. When you call Altronix, you're going to talk to a human being. You're never going to be thrown into a voicemail and just hope and pray that you get a call back. Another big thing, which is another important item to note as far as Altronix is concerned, is our supply chain is very strong, and that's really been brought to the forefront here during the pandemic. Every product that we manufacture has a lifetime warranty, and that supply chain is strong because we're an American brand. And we don't just say we're an American brand. We literally manufacture our products from the ground up right in Brooklyn, New York. So Trove access and power integration is the better way to design, build, test, and deploy your access control systems. Designing a scalable, cost-effective solution for any environment is going to come with some typical pre-deployment challenges. So you might look at systems that require dual voltages, both 12 and 24 volts DC in an enclosure. We want to design a system with service and maintenance in mind. And when we look at monitoring, what's the ability to communicate with my mission critical foundation for my access control, security and surveillance systems, providing power to the access controllers and peripherals. How do I do that? What's the best way to distribute it? And then providing power to the system locking devices. And of course, another item which is very important and sometimes left to the very end of the system design is, how do I reduce the number of network drops? With so many products going on the network today, both between the access controllers and now the ability to monitor my solutions and my devices connected, and then as well with some hardened switching equipment. I want to make it so I've got a single network drop coming into the enclosure, but that I can connect up a multitude of network devices. And then, part of that comes with also efficiently assembling and testing the system. How can I get the system together and designed and tested even prior to deployment? So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about. So we'll go to our first challenge here, which is designing scalable, cost-effective access control solution for any environment. And that leads us to Trove, which we alluded to earlier. So right now, the Altronix Trove solution supports 60+ integration partners. So, virtually no matter what access control brand is specified or that you're looking to deploy, you've got a solution with Trove. And the idea of Trove is to easily combine access controllers with Altronix power and peripherals available in different variations. So whether it's a wall mount enclosure, a rack mount solution where we can leverage vertical space in an IT rack, or outdoor models where we need to provide access control for vehicle gates, pedestrian gates, etc. And the beauty of the Trove is to have this all-in-one solution, which also includes battery backup. So, the benefit of that is having a single point for service and maintenance, saving on wall space in your design. And we've got a very intuitive online system design tool and live technical assistance to support you as well. So we talk about bringing all these components of the system together in a single enclosure. And many times there's going to be a need to provide dual voltages inside one of these enclosures. So 12 volts DC maybe for my controllers, 24 volts DC for locks, or maybe even a mix of 12 and 24 volt DC locks. So the solution here is game-changing power deployment methods leveraging our VR6 voltage regulator. The VR6 voltage regulator utilizes 24 volts DC in and provides 12 volts DC out. We've got a unique stackable design. So this is key right here. Again, as we're putting more components into an enclosure, we want to be able to save space, leave room for the components, as well as be able to provide the distributed power necessary for the application. And when we look at the ability to provide traditional power, low voltage power to our access controllers and locking devices, we also now offer Tango, which is a PoE driven power supply. The Tango product is designed to utilize 4P PoE to provide both 12 and 24 volts DC simultaneously. It's going to allow you to design and deploy a system leveraging low voltage installation methods. So we think about using, Cat 5e or higher cabling, Cat 6 cabling, being able to deliver that cabling in the same wire trays as our other low voltage cabling, eliminating the need for conduit, as well as specific circuit breakers in an electrical panel to manage the system's power. And then we've got the Life PO4 battery backup. So lithium iron phosphate batteries. This is a next gen in battery technology. Altronix first to market this product, and the lithium iron phosphate batteries are going to allow you to go from sealed lead acid batteries, which have 500 duty cycles, to the Life PO4 batteries, which now offer 5,000 duty cycles. So you're going to extend the life of your backup batteries for your system. You're going to be using a battery that weighs significantly less than a sealed lead acid battery. And it's going to allow you to utilize less batteries in an enclosure, same size, more efficient than sealed lead acid. The Tango product is currently in UL as well. And here's where we're going to show you the stackable design. So both the VR6 voltage regulator and the Tango 1B utilize an 8-pin connector, which then gives us the ability to stack on top one of our power distribution boards, our PD-S8 for stackable, or our ACM8 access power controller. So here we're going to give you an example of a dual voltage power solution leveraging the Tango 1B. So as I noted a moment ago, the Tango 1B is designed to take its power leveraging the new 802.3 BT standard for PoE. For those of you that are not familiar, 802.3 BT will allow you to pass up to 90 watts of power to a PD or powered device in the field that calls for it. And so here, what we're showing is our Trove 1 enclosure, a 4-door access control system, where we are now utilizing Cat 5e or higher cable from our head end location, 100 meters, utilizing our Netway 1B BT, power injector. So here we're dropping the 90 watts onto the Cat 5e or higher cable. We're delivering that to the Tango 1B. The Tango 1B is providing both 12 and 24 volts DC simultaneously. So we've got, for instance, 24 volts DC going to our access power controller, 12 volts DC going to our access control panels. And so we can provide power for the controllers, card readers, electric strikes, request to exit motions, etc. And now we have the ability to use the lithium iron phosphate batteries for backup in the enclosure in the field, which again is going to extend the life of the backup batteries for your system. So we think about designing a system with service and maintenance in mind. The Link technology from Altronix is our network power management solution. And this is going to allow the user to control, monitor, and report power and diagnostics from anywhere over the network. And the benefit here is, especially if we, again, bring it into the light of the pandemic that we're currently going through now, where businesses are closed down, they don't have as many employees on site or facility managers. We have to think about social distancing. The benefit of Link technology ultimately is the potential to troubleshoot, diagnose, and repair an issue with your mission critical system without having to roll a truck. And that leads to an increased profitability, reduced service costs, which is going to benefit both the systems integrator as well as the end user clients that you serve. So when we talk about the link technology, what is it? What do I get out of this here? And if we look at, the first item that came up there, the battery health monitoring, we have the ability to monitor low battery, no battery, as well as set a battery service on date. So we can tell the system, hey, a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, send my service manager an email notification that it's time to service the batteries at ABC company. So even with some clients where you may not have a formal maintenance agreement with, it's going to allow you to stay in touch with that customer, help them keep their system up and running efficiently, without having to, just schedule something up, for the heck of it. Because now you get the notification to check the batteries. You may have the ability now to log in and see where things stand. We can monitor input and output voltage and current draws. This is going to support predictive maintenance, as well as give us, direct insight immediately to an issue with a connected device. So if we have a device pulling too much current, we have the ability to, again, get an email notification or alert to let us know that. And then we could log in through web browser, view that particular output, see what's happening, control it, power cycle it, see if that fixes the issue. If not, maybe it's time to go ahead and schedule a service call while the lock is still in operation. But before it's failed, schedule that service call to do a replacement. And then we have the ability to manage multiple devices at multiple sites with our dashboard software. That's a free download available at altronix.com. Any Altronix device that has link technology, whether it's a module or whether it's embedded into the product, is going to be able to be leveraged with our solution here. So if I go to the last item here that I want to touch on, I have a cyber secured hardened device, which now is set to work in any corporate type environment. So here we're monitoring system power diagnostics, the Link 2 module. So we've got various devices, as I mentioned earlier, whether it's a module or a product that has the Link technology embedded. Here, our Link 2 device gives us the ability to control, monitor, and report power diagnostics. It's going to interface with up to 2 eFlow power supplies. It's equipped with an onboard mounting bracket, if you will, that allows us to install it into an enclosure without taking up any space on the backplane. And an added benefit is 2 network controlled Form C relays. So we can log in through to the device through any web browser, and we can control devices that are connected. Another point to show here is the ability to program and monitor via a USB port. So now, prior to deployment, I can plug this device into my laptop or workstation. I can give it its IP address that it's going to need on site, go through any of the other additional settings, and now install it into the enclosure, deploy it to the site, connect it to the network. So that's going to monitor the power supply, so to speak. The Link 8 PD now gives us the ability to drill down a little bit further. And we want to be able to monitor power to our access controllers and our peripheral devices that are connected up. And what the Link 8 PD gives us is the ability to take up to 2 inputs, so both 12 and 24 volts DC in, and then select per output 12 or 24 volts DC. Great for any application, again, where we require dual voltage and we have 2 power supplies. The Link 8 PD is also capable to be used with and stacked on top of a voltage regulator, our VR6 product. So now, minus the 8-pin connector, we have the ability to take our 24 volts DC in and then leverage the 12 volts DC out, as well as 24 volts DC to our Link 8 PD, again, giving us that ability to individually select 12 or 24 volts DC per output, even from a single 24 volts DC power source. And from the field, the technician can see, using the bicolored LEDs, visual verification of which voltage is directed to which output. We have further ability to choose our battery backup, selectable by output. And this device is going to make monitoring each individual output very simple. You'll notice here, I want to note the spade lugs, upper right-hand corner. There's spade lugs on the boards, which allow us to deliver both 12 and 24 volts DC then to additional sub-assemblies that might also be in the enclosure. So single 24 volt power supply, giving us 12 and 24 volts DC across multiple outputs. So now we talk about the locking devices. And the ability to monitor the individual locks in a system is key, as I mentioned, whether it's from a predictive maintenance standpoint or just being able to know immediately when we have a problem, as opposed to waiting until waiting too long until we have some kind of an issue because we can't get into or out of a certain area of the building. So similar to the Link 8 PD, the Link 8 ACM also has dual inputs. So we can bring both a 12 and 24 volts DC power supply into this. Our ACM access power controllers are designed to take a trigger input from the access control system, and then we have a relay output to control all the lock power. So this product is a best practice from an installation perspective in the field, in that we don't have to run voltage through the relays on our door controllers. We can simply take a trigger input from the door relay on the access control panel. So a good card read fires the relay on the door controller. We take that trigger in, and then we control all the power to the locks out. And the benefit there is we're not introducing voltage directly to an access control panel, which may have onboard relays. So being able to isolate lock power is key with an ACM 8. We've got the Link version that we're looking at here, so we could drop it on the network. We also have a version that is stackable with our VR6 voltage regulator. And again, same benefits as a Link 8 PD, bicolor LEDs for visual voltage verification. We also have fire alarm input, so we can take a trigger input from the fire alarm system and provide free egress to whichever output we choose, and that is field selectable. So here again, pointing out the ability to take a fire alarm trigger input, lower corner right-hand side, and then choose per output how we want the relays to operate on a trigger. So we mentioned earlier, lots of devices are now going into these systems that require some sort of network connectivity. And so it should be a concern for most, the number of network cables coming into an enclosure. So if you're working with an end user client whose IT department charges them X amount of money for every network drop, here we can reduce the number of network cables using our unique Netway 5B. It's a 5-port space-saving switchboard that matches the same footprint as our PD boards or power distribution boards. So what we now can do is we can deploy the Netway 5B into an enclosure, for instance, with our Trove system, and we can we can power this board with both 12 or 24 volts DC. We can also power the board from PoE. So if you have a single network drop coming into the enclosure and it's PoE, we're going to provide power for the board, as well as 4 outputs now that are all data only, but gives us the ability to connect up that multitude of devices inside the enclosure. So here we show the Netway 5B mounted in the lower left-hand corner. We're going to bring our single network drop in. You're going to see now we have patch cables going to the devices in the enclosure that require network connectivity. And we can accomplish all of that with a small space-saving device in the Netway 5B. So finally here, we'll look at, again, the ability to build and test a system. So again, a lot of, national deployments, things of that nature, where we want to get the system in-house. We want to mount all of our devices, do our inner wiring, test it, get it set up with IP addresses, etc. The Trove solution is really works well in that scenario because we provide flexible pre-deployment options. The first being probably the most important, a removable backplane, which allows efficient equipment staging and pre-installation testing. So because the backplane is removable, in a larger deployment, we have the ability to deploy the enclosures out to the job site, maybe have the electrician hang the enclosure, pipe to it. In our shop now, we can lay out the backplane, we can mount our access controllers, Altronix power supply subassemblies, handle the inner wiring there. And then when it's ready to go, take that backplane to the job site, install it into the enclosure, and land and dress our field wiring. That's going to also give us the benefit of lower on-site labor costs because we're not on-site all day installing these components and inner wiring. We can do it right in our shop. And when we look at the simplified system design wire management options, some of you may or may not be aware, we have universal mounting magnets. So we have the ability to install virtually any component into an Altronix enclosure, whether it's Trove or other. So if we have to mix disparate equipment, if we have to add a device into an enclosure that's already chock full with products on the backplane, we have the need to add another distribution board, for instance, we can leverage those universal mounting magnets and we can install that right onto the side of the enclosure, top or bottom. We offer power on-off switches. So again, another benefit to streamlining the deployment, utilizing the solutions that are available to make the enclosure fit to the application. So now we can bring high voltage directly to a power on-off switch, and then from that power on-off switch, deliver the power to the power supply. And so in that case, now when our technician ends up on site, they want to service or test the panel. They don't have to spend a ton of time finding the facility manager, going to the the electrical box, turning off the high voltage power to the enclosure, potentially having to lock out and tag out, for some regulations, making sure nobody comes around behind, turns power back on while I'm working on it. Technician can simply open the enclosure door, flip the switch to cut power to the power supply, service and maintain, power it back up, close the enclosure and be on his way. We've got side mounting brackets for additional sub-assemblies. So again, looking at the needs of the specific system, what we want to put into an enclosure, a single enclosure, how easy it can be, whether it's a side mounting bracket or using our universal mounting magnets. And then finally, from a wire management perspective, we offer wire management magnets as well, which gives the field technician the ability to see and trace wires very easily, but hold wires in place for the long term. And then we also offer kits now or coming soon here with finger ductor wire molds, so we can hide those wires in the enclosure and clean a panel up very nicely. And then, so we've got custom kits and private labeling available as well. So on the kit side of things, we were looking at this particular image that we see here. This product would come with the Altronix power supply, sub-assemblies, pre-installed and inner wired. All we have to do then is install the access controllers. So, when we come back and circle around here, we've got scalable power solutions for access control, network power monitoring to increase our ROI, innovative design features, saving valuable space. Again, whether it's a stackable design, whether it's our Link 2, which has essentially an onboard mounting bracket, so we don't have to take up space on a backplane. And then, as I mentioned, pre-configured kits to save time and labor, flexible mounting and wire management options, and then obviously our lifetime warranty and unparalleled customer service. And again, the benefit to the dealer, the installer, the technician, the end user is that all the Altronix products are manufactured in the USA. Again, giving us strength in our supply chain. And so here I've got a graphic up, the Altronix support team. We are here to assist. So while we can offer live support, design assistance, we have a team that are really the best in the industry at knowing the Altronix product line, understanding how to assist, whether it's presenting products to you or to potential end user clients to help in your sales. We are available. And so I've got my colleague Ronnie Pennington, the East Coast, Brian McGee in the South Central, and Stephen ASAP Oliva in the West Coast of the country. And then I myself, territory right in that middle part there, as well as Canada. So a couple of things. Oh, I jumped. Oh, okay. I thought I had one more slide. So I do want to offer the ability to open things up to questions. But before I do, I just want to make a note again, for those of you that have not been to the Altronix website in quite some time, we have now on our website under news and resources, you're going to find pre-recorded webinars. You're going to see product videos, some short, some long, that go through the features, benefits of the products. That's also where you're going to find our award-winning Trove online design tool, where we can choose our manufacturer's brand. We can drag and drop the components into a Trove enclosure and then create a bill of materials to assist in your system design as well as in product procurement. So with that, I want to open things up, Michael, if we've got any questions.
If y'all have questions, please put them in the Q&A. I do have one that we can start with. Dan Ladon wants to know, sorry.
Okay.
Dan Ladon wants to know, can you show a close-up of the power supply with the on-off switch or provide a data sheet?
So with the RSB2, so what we can do is provide a data sheet. I don't know if I have a picture at my fingertip that shows the RSB2. Let me just try something right here. Do a quick look-see. We can probably pull something up right here on the website. I'm presuming that's what he's looking for, the on-off switches. So the RSB1 or RSB2, which we can put into the enclosure. I'm going to grab one of our Trove 3 kits here on our design tool, and let me share this with you here. So if I go to right here. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen here. I'm in the design tool. I chose, I'll actually go back here real quick so you can see how we get here. Under the Trove system design tool, I'm going to choose the brand of access control that I'm working with. I'm going to choose the size enclosure, whether we're working with a weatherproof enclosure or potentially a rack mount solution, all the way up to our large Trove 3. Once we get to our design tool, we can choose a pre-configured kit or design our own system. And here we see, all right, a little hard to see. I can pull it up separately as well on the website, but we've got an RSB2 mounted here. That's going to be our 2 power switches. We're going to bring the high voltage to the RSB2. And then from the RSB2, each switch is going to be wired to one of the 2 power supplies. This is what gives us the on-off functionality. So not built in directly to the power supply, but the ability to add that into the enclosure. So now, not only can I turn the system on and off easily, but I'm doing that behind a closed locked door. So it can't be done by just anyone, not like, unplugging a plug that might be coming out of the enclosure. It's actually having to physically get into the unit and turn a device on or off. Here, I'll point out one other thing under news and events. This is where you're going to find the resources, news media, Altronix. And we've got the ability here to find our resources, white papers, videos, webinars, etc. I encourage you to go here, check this out. When we talk specifically about our white papers, great information on the lithium iron phosphate battery benefits, which I mentioned in this particular presentation. We talked a little bit about the Tango using 802.3 BT. And then finally, for those of you that may or may not be aware, we also offer IP and PoE solutions for long distance applications. So that's going to be fiber media converters. It's going to give us the ability to provide power with composite fiber cabling in order to deliver power extreme distances. Also a great read.
Does anybody else have any other questions? While we're waiting to see if any more questions come in, JR, final thoughts?
You know, really, I want to make sure that the audience really knows and understands. I mean, our support team, I showed you our factory guys, you know, who are kind of traveling around North America, in Ronnie's case, South America and all over the globe, you know, to assist. But we have a team of independent manufacturers reps, which are fantastic as well. Many have been with us many years, and also available as a local support person to help as well in the design and understanding the Altronix Trove product. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And again, if you think about it from where we were here with the Trove system design tool, it could be as simple as clicking on this button right here. You get to the tool, maybe you start designing something, but you're not really sure if you're doing it correctly. You request design assistance. This is in real time going to go to one of our members of our team, and then we're going to work with our independent reps to make sure that you get the ability to have design assistance at your fingertips and very quickly.